Hi everyone, in this video I wanted to discuss a few more things about Wuthering Heights that I missed in my previous video. That's why I'm making a part 2, and because I feel this part is also very important of about understanding the twin flame journey and the difference between twin flame love and false twin love. So both of them will make you feel very intensely attracted towards each other. So when you meet your twin flame and you meet your false twin, you will both feel very deep, impacting love towards each other, a deep sexual pull, emotional pull, as well as if you have held past lives with each other, some past life memories with that person will also emerge in your experiences. If you are that highly spiritual, you may start getting dreams about a shared past life with that person as well, which can confuse anyone when you are in the beginning stages of a twin flame journey or of understanding what a twin flame journey actually means at a deeper level. At the initial years, when you're listening to twin flame related videos, when you're speaking to other people who talk about twin flame relationships, or you're novice yourself in the journey of your twin flame experience, you can get confused between the false twin and real twin flame, because both of them have that intense connection. And then the part about Wuthering Heights is that Heathcliff could never forget Catherine's eyes, and in the end, before he died, he was only seeing her eyes. He became also very crazy and went and did some of the stuff was really dark in Wuthering Heights. So he was sleeping in the near the coffin where Catherine was buried and things like that, or he actually slept in the same burial ground or something. So he was that level obsessed that he was not able to let go of her even after her death. Whereas if you're truly spiritually connected at a higher soul level, this physical attachment to the soul goes away for you eventually. You realize that at a higher soul level, you're always deeply connected with each other. You always truly do love each other. But at the earthly existence level, some of us have a life journey where at the earthly existence level, we are not meant to be really good towards each other for some reason or the other, because of social circumstance, socio-economic circumstance, our inner core nature not having the same wavelength as the inner core nature of the person we love. All of these actually lead to the mismatch between our relationships with them. And the eyes that he kept saying, like everyone who falls in love, and if you have watched any movies about love, you will see that many movies about love talks about this intense eye to eye connection that you feel with someone, this intense connection that you have led lives with them, that recognition can happen to you. This actor couple, they're not actually couples in real life, but they were actors in Indian cinema. There are many actors like that who have had this very deep, intense soul experience with a person they have acted with, and they find that person to be very familiar to them. Even though that person might have been married to a high level soulmate, or married to a twin flame, or might have been married to a karmic, whatever was their marriage experience, there are people who are married in different levels in real life. Someone is married to their twin flame, someone may not be married to their twin flame, someone may be married to a karmic, someone may be married to a soulmate. So different experiences will be there in your marriages. But while you're going through that experience, you will also have, if you're an actor, you can have an experience with a person you're acting with, where you might feel this deep soul recognition with them, which is similar again to how Heathcliff felt for Catherine and Catherine felt for Heathcliff. They had likely a past life karma with each other, which drew them deeply towards each other, which magnetized them towards each other, which made them feel very soulfully connected to each other at a level that they couldn't understand why they are so deeply connected to each other. Now that question, if they had asked God at the spiritual level, or if they had connected during that moment of that experience, especially when a challenging circumstance was coming up where Catherine has to decide who she should marry, whether she should marry someone who's of a higher socioeconomic status. Now, if they were real twin flames or high level soulmates, she would have actually, loved truly and deeply Heathcliff, then she would have considered Heathcliff as part of the equation of this marriage. but she didn't consider Heathcliff as part of the equation, which is why Heathcliff felt that intense betrayal and rejection, because to him Catherine was everything, but to her Heathcliff was not everything. There were many other things she wanted that was apart from Heathcliff. So Heathcliff's love wasn't enough for Catherine. She wanted a comfortable life, she wanted many other things. So that is why only they became a karmic experience, because sometimes when you are a mismatched couple of different socioeconomic status, different educational status, in the end, like Kathy Linton and Hareton Earnshaw had very different educational status, very different upbringing, and despite that, definitely the cruelty of the circumstances led them to be in each other's company. But apart from the cruelty of the circumstances that led them to be in each other's company, they also eventually fell in love because they were meant to fall in love. And if that cruelty of the circumstance related to Heathcliff hadn't arisen in their life, would they have fallen in love? No, not maybe as soon as they would have, because of Heathcliff's machinations. They happened to be together with each other, and that's why only they ended up having more company of each other and falling in love. So Heathcliff was actually, in a way, also, even though he brought a lot of grief to them in their life, he also karmically, that's why they cleared their karma with him, because while he also brought a lot of grief, he also eventually brought a lot of joy to them also, because of the karmic experience and shared karmic experience that he got to them. And that shared karmic experience eventually, that's why, led to a deeper love from one of them, a deeper kind of love that he got from one of them, which was Hareton, and the forgiveness type of love that Kathy eventually possibly gave him. Because you will see also, initially she really was not liking Heathcliff at all, but towards the end she started feeling sorry for him. She started changing her, shifting her narrative about how she felt about Heathcliff slowly over time. And that change partly happened because of her own understanding of the situation, and partly also happened because of possibly her falling in love with Hareton and seeing that Hareton could have inspired her, that how much ever she hates Heathcliff for whatever happened in her past, or Heathcliff hates her for blaming her for killing her mother. Like, he indirectly blames her that she's responsible for her mother's death. She didn't kill her mother, but many children who who are born and their mother dies during childbirth, many fathers or people who love their mother can blame that child for the mother's death. So that experience of hatred was there for her, right, with Heathcliff. And similar level hatred was there for Hareton too. But even though similar level hatred and actually deeper, longer level of neglect and lack of caretaking happened with Hareton, despite that Hareton continuously, diligently was consistently consistently didn't disrespect Heathcliff, didn't he never felt in his soul the hatred that Heathcliff has felt. That's why he was a light beam. He was very, very opposite of what Heathcliff was. And that's why he could have also influenced, when he fell in love with Kathy, his behavior likely influenced Kathy as well. So like how Kathy, and there again, when you're a true twin flame, even if there are socioeconomic differences, educational differences, there will still be some difference between you that materially the material world may not respect, but emotionally, spiritually, Hareton had a quality that was worthy of respect, that was worthy of understanding, that was worthy of bringing on to earthly existence. And that's why they were a balanced partnership. It didn't become an imbalanced partnership just because Kathy led a very rich life or Kathy had more education. It became a balanced experience because whatever Kathy knew about, whatever she had access to, she taught Hareton directly. She was a direct teacher of Hareton by when she was educating him about the language skills and other skills that Hareton didn't have. Whereas Hareton was actually indirectly influencing her in behaving and softening towards Heathcliff, which I don't know how deeply the book had explored, and I had really read the book not 30 years back, but maybe about almost 30 years back I had read the book. So because I had read the book that long back, and the movie that I watched, I didn't watch the whole movie because I used to find Wuthering Heights very dark in storyline. So I never watched the whole movie also, I believe. So that's why, after only having read the book 1 or 2 times, I don't remember the deeper details of some of the interactions related to some other character. The thing that I always remembered ended up being Heathcliff's experience only, because the story was mainly about Heathcliff's experience, but also because the darkness of his experience was so dark that it left an impression on me, that darkness. And this is the thing. And then the part where he's always seeing Catherine's rise after Catherine dies, he keeps seeing, and they also talk about him seeing Catherine's ghost. Now, why is Catherine's ghost around in that city and that is also what makes people perceive the reason that because Catherine was all around there as a ghost, that maybe that's why theirs was such a amazing love story, or theirs is a true, deeply meaningful, non-false twin flame. Many can perceive their love story to be a twin flame love story. But the reason why I'm questioning the narrative that it is a twin flame love story is because there's other reasons for you to be haunted by ghosts as well. If you've done a great harm, soul level harm to one person or their entire family, that person can also haunt you as a ghost to wake you up to what you have done wrong, because that person had possibly a soul contract or a spiritual contract when they were living to guide you towards better way of living. And let's say Kathy was meant to, in the previous video I mentioned that what if the reason why Kathy had to reject Heathcliff was so that his higher life purpose was to become a richer man from a poor boy. But even though his higher purpose was to become a richer man, if Kathy had behaved honorably, Heathcliff had known how to behave honorably, both of them had used the higher self version of themselves or the lighter being version of themselves in the choices they had made during their childhood and teen years, when they were deciding about marriage and things like that, and when they were falling in love. If the higher level choices had been made by both of them could have had the soul contract potential to be good soulmates towards each other, good friends for each other, good friends for life for each other, and a loving experience which was a different kind of love experience than intense love experience. But for Heathcliff, only Catherine was all he saw. He couldn't see anything else, anyone else. And Catherine, because Heathcliff was, and this is also another thing wherein twin flames, journey, that is also where, both with false twin flame and real twin flame, this experience can arise. That when you are in a false twin flame or real twin flame experience, or even in a karmic experience, if anyone focuses too much of their love in one person and the other person is not ready to pour back love on you, or even though they might feel attracted to you or they might love you, if they're not ready to be in that same intense level of love as you are in love with them, at that time it creates a relationship imbalance and it creates a relationship toxicity. Now, when it is a relationship imbalance and toxicity related to a false twin flame experience, what happens is the false twin flame will reject you, run, and give you no explanation or closure as to why they ran. And you will see that is what happened with Catherine. Catherine doesn't give Heathcliff any explanation as to why she is, she doesn't give him a very deeper level explanation. She doesn't give him any explanation at all. She just says she wants to choose him, and the superficial explanation she gives is about the money related things, and which might have been her experience because she's just a teenager and she's a immature teen. So that is possibly a valid experience response from her at a teenage age. But when they have grown up and matured and they are in their 20s and Heathcliff comes back again in her life, at that time also, after having been in love with her husband Edgar, she could have given a better explanation, right? Or even if she tried to give a better explanation, if sometimes you're blinded by love, and especially if you're blinded by egoic love or blinded by the passion of your love, you cannot see outside of the equation that you're having with someone. So even if Catherine honestly said certain things to Heathcliff, it may not have registered to him. Or if so Catherine could have been three kinds of women with Heathcliff. She could have been a player with Heathcliff, which I don't believe that she was a player of Heathcliff's emotions, but still Heathcliff's emotions did get played by her, because sometimes that is how some loves are, that if I am in love with you but you are not in love with me, and or I am deeply in love with you and you're hardly in love with me, it will seem like a very played experience because that other person is not as deeply in love with me. And until I clear out my perception and thinking and belief systems that while I am deeply in love with you, you're only marginally in love with me, it will constantly keep the equation between us in an imbalance, and it will constantly make me perceive something that is not there. There's this Hindi song, "Tune jo na kaha wo main sunta raha." That song says, whatever you are not saying, that is what I have been hearing. Why is that song like that? That song is like that because it is saying that I am perceiving that you are in love with me, but you have never said that you are that deeply in love with me, but I still kept hearing as if you are deeply in love with me. So this misperception happens to all of us when we are in an imbalanced equation of love with someone. And that imbalanced equation of love in a false twin experience, when it arises, the false twin is meant to come in our life to give us these jarring, soul-shocking experiences of the kind where we will outrightly reject the rejection they are giving us. Meaning, like when Catherine did reject him, he had to go through that journey. That is what a false twin is going to make you go through. They will talk rubbish to you. They will say things to you that will hurt you deeply. They will treat you in a very sometimes unfair manner. They will treat you sometimes in an unselfish manner. And that's why many of us meet our false twin flames when we are in a unavacant stage of our life, when we are in the younger phases of our life. So most of us will, who's in a twin flame journey, will meet their false twins when they are younger, when they are in their teens, or their first marriage might be with the false twin, or their first love might be with the false twin, where you will have all these experiences of intense love, deep love, very passionate love, a love that makes you like feel alive. But that is a false illusion of love also. It's just a love based on physical chemistry. Many a times it is just a love based on physical chemistry. Many a times one person will have a physical attraction towards you, whereas the other person will have an emotional attraction towards the other. So that's why it's imbalanced, because it's a false twin. It is intense, but it is intense according to what you came to experience with the person. So I have met, for me, because I was an emotional person, for me it was an intense emotional attraction towards this guy, and I felt magnetized by his sexuality, whereas for him it was, he felt sexually attracted towards me, but heart center wise I don't feel that he was attracted towards me in a heart centered manner. And that imbalance was going to happen because he was my false twin. And because he was my false twin, because that, so I was attracted in two ways. I was attracted physically, I was attracted heart chakra wise. He was attracted only physically, and some financially I was giving him some financial advantages. So then it became a completely imbalanced relationship, and that is how a false twin flame will be. They will be very destabilizing, and like 2/3 or 3/3, 2/3 or 1/4 of the love that you will pour. If you are pouring 2/3 amount of love or effort and everything into the relationship, they are only putting 1/3 effort and love to make it 100% equation. Or if you are doing 80% of the work and everything for the partnership, they are only doing 20% of the work and everything for the partnership. Or they're not even thinking about the partnership, they are not even prioritizing you. So all these things will happen in a false twin flame journey, which is what Kathy was doing. Kathy was not giving him good explanation as to why she doesn't love him. Even after being married to Edgar, she could have said by now that I've changed my mind, because you have, as a woman or as a human being, you have a right to say sometimes that while I love you, I also love this human being, and that I love this human being more than I love you, or I want to explore my life with this human being, then I want to explore my life with you. All these things she could have said. Now the thing is, why didn't she say it? There could be a couple of reasons why didn't she say it. If she was a player also, she will not say it because she wants the attention seeking and all that from Heathcliff. But I don't believe with Kathy it was like that. But more likely with Kathy, the other two scenarios are more likely, wherein in one scenario she might have tried to express to him, which I believe in some different ways she tried to convince Heathcliff that let me go, other people can love you, or we're not the right partner for each other. She tried to convince him, but he was not ready to listen to her. That can happen in some scenarios, and in other scenarios, how much ever you try to explain to someone that, hey, I don't really love you the same way that you love me, or I don't feel the same way that you are feeling about me. When you are blinded by egoic love or illusion of love, or are in the passion of love about someone, how much ever they say no to you, you will not understand it. Which is what happened to me with two of my relationships. Both of the guys that I dated and consider as my boyfriends, they both were like that kind of a love for me, where they actually had initially, when I was initially just friends with them, then we dated, and the first boy had outrightly rejected me, but I just couldn't. And he was my false twin flame. I couldn't believe that he can't feel the same way as I was feeling. So I was like, this level attraction, this level magnetism, this level soul connection that I'm feeling to him, how can he not feel that same way about me? And the false twin flame relationship is that kind of a surreal relationship where you just can't comprehend that this level of intensity that I'm feeling for someone, how is it that they are not feeling for me? But because they are your false twin flame, they are mirroring to you what a twin flame relationship can look like. You will also feel in the twin flame relationship also in the future that same level intensity, but in the twin flame relationship it will be mutually reciprocated, whereas in a false twin flame it can't be reciprocated, because whatever your intensity of feeling for them is based on some possible past life karma, where you might have been married to them, and in the past life you really deeply loved them, and in this life, even though in the past life you deeply loved them, the relationship didn't work out for whatever reason. They could have cheated on you, they could have dated other people instead of you, they could have never given you the love you deserved in that life too. But now you have a karma to clear from that past life. So in this life, the job of the false twin is, how much ever you try to convince them, be in my life, be in love with me, stay with me, they will reject you even before marrying you. Which is what happened, and I realized that this is what possibly was a past life experience with my false twin flame, that I might have done whatever I explained here in this segment. This is what I might have done in a past life, that I was married to him, but he was still not loyal to me, he was still not into the relationship with me. So in this life, he has learned that past life lesson, that he made a mistake of marrying me. It could have been that it was an arranged marriage in a past life, it was a family obligation that led to the marriage. Whatever it was that led to the marriage, in this life he realizes that how much ever a higher soul level we might be in love with each other, in a soul level love, not like the physical level love that I'm talking about in these false twin flame and real twin flame experiences. So in the physical earthly plane, and also as a couple in the future higher levels also, twin flames ascend together as a couple. So you always see Shiv Shakti together, Radha Krishna together at the higher levels in higher realms. So this level love, if you want to manifest in your life, can Radha Krishna be together in the higher levels if Krishna doesn't let go of all the other gopikas who were in love with him? He can't. In order for him to be with Radha and the higher levels together, he has to slowly let go, and he will be actually the false twin flame or soulmate or karmic of all the other women who are not Radha. Whose soul is not Radha's soul. Similarly, Radha also, if Radha had her husband, right? So she was never in her marriage with her husband, never deeply into the marriage with her husband, because her husband was her false twin flame or her karmic. So she has to let go of her false twin flame and karmic, and that's what she did as Radha. She wasn't deeply in love with him. She slowly in that lifetime was letting go of him. So which is what Catherine's job was. Is Catherine is Heathcliff's false twin flame, like my false twin flame was my false twin flame. Initially, even though I am deeply convinced that he should be in my life as my boyfriend or as my partner, he was not convinced. So he first did say no, or he actually said he's interested in someone else. I didn't believe it. And then actually I should say the way our relationship didn't unfold like this. It unfolded that he used to frequent our house, and I thought he's interested in me because everyone else in our house, like when we used to have some flatmates who were our neighbors also. So group of us used to hang around together, and in that whole group that people used to hang around, I was the only single girl in the group. So obviously I thought, if I'm the only single girl and this guy is constantly visiting us, and I knew that he was giving excuses when visiting us, I thought he's visiting us because of me. So I naturally, that's why I thought that he's also as interested in me and everything, and that's why I kind of proposed. And then what happened was,